Way back in 1970, I was just finishing up university. Elizabeth was brought up in Connecticut, and while I was coordinating the state Earth Day, she was parallel coordinating students around Hartford, Connecticut while she was in high school.
Senator Gaylord Nelson and Dennis Hayes, two prominent environmentalists, although we didn't use the term then, announced that April 22nd would be Earth Day. So I started organizing in my high school. This is one of the things I like sharing, particularly with school audiences and young people, is how many of the threats that we faced in 1970 have been dealt with, right, and successfully.
A really important issue in the 1970 first Earth Day for many people in Connecticut and across North America was the issue of DDT and other persistent toxic pesticides.
There was, as I said, eutrophication was a big issue, the threat to the Great Lakes. Another big threat in the early 1970s was that we had, well, particularly the late 1960s, was ambient air quality.
In the 70s, most youth did as they were told. And today, most youth don't do as they're told. They don't take their marching orders from politicians or prime ministers or tribal parties, sometimes not their parents. And they're going to make the world a better place. And so I have hope because they're thinking, they're progressive, and they're not going to take no for an answer when it comes to saving our planet.
I've been involved in the environment movement since I was in grade 10. They're not too young to get involved. They're not too young to stay involved. The everyday things we can do to develop good habits, like don't leave lights on when you've left the room, and try to convince your family that if you're going to go to the grocery store, why not this time make it a walking trip and bring canvas bags rather than drive back and forth to the store. Between the 1970s and now, the biggest environmental threat we face now is the climate crisis, and it's such a big threat now that there's no point calling it an environmental issue. It's way beyond that.
Today we're talking about altering the not only the ecosystems but the entire climate of the planet. We better smarten up, and we better do it soon. And I'm really proud to be working with Elizabeth to do exactly that.
Problems can be solved, and the problems of the early 1970s in a lot of ways were solved. But we are making a shift globally, and the hope for the future is that we won't be addicted to fossil fuels. We've got a lot of people who are trying to make that difference, and I think in the next few months we'll see more of the other nations of the world picking it up